The Lions are going to get you a lot.
Oh, God, Coop.
There you go. Put some money on
We
it.
know
Plus
Coop's
280.
records on the year. We don't want that. But don't forget to like,
subscribe. I beat
big
you.
Boy, what else they got to do, big boy? Ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
Welcome, RoundTable family, to another exciting episode of the Sports RoundTable Trio Edition. I'm your host, Rowdy, as always, joined by my co-host, Little Bro Coop and Big Boy. How are we doing, boys?
Awesome, man. It's a good week. The week's gone kind of fast. It's kind of exciting. Tomorrow's Friday, so let's have a great show.
It's a great day. It's a great Friday when this episode comes out. It's going to be a great weekend, but we hope y'all enjoyed Tuesdays on the Edge, where we recapped all the divisional round. Of course, this episode, we're going to break down championship weekend for you, the AFC Championship and NFC Championship, to see who goes to the Super Bowl. I know we got some interesting picks. I was talking to Coop. He's got an interesting one. We're going to find that out very soon.
Texans ain't winning, man, so they ain't happening. So we can't pull that again.
Can't pick them again.
No Texans, so that's why I don't know how Coop's pick's going to go this week. He picked the Texans last week. We saw how that went. But, man, we appreciate it. Make sure y'all stay tuned for later in the episode. We got our another roundtable chat, and Nick Wilson, DBU baseball player, pitcher. He's going to tell his story. He's got a good one, boys. I've known him for a little bit from the JUCO ranks, played him at the JUCO level. He's got an interesting story, all his stops. And joining us now early, shocker, of course. And we got
surprised he's on time
to come on and talk with us. But after Nick comes on, we got Figuring Out the 40 with a special guest from a very well-known organization. So we'll save that for later. But joining us now is none other than Adam Sherry, Kobe Weber. How are we doing?
What's up, boys?
Adam Sherry, is Bill Belichick getting a job, or is he just going to be on his boat?
Man, I don't think he is.
I don't either, man.
Because I think Dan Quinn is going to Seattle. And then it's Seattle. Oh, and then Washington. I think they like the offensive coordinator for the
Lions.
Yeah, man.
I think not the Redskins. Excuse me, I can't say Redskins. The Washington Commanders. I think they're the team that should get him because he can kind of change things up. But no GM is going to want to be there with him. So it's kind of like,
yeah, he only interviewed with one team and one team only, and that was the Falcons, and he did it twice, and they didn't even get him.
If he lets the GM have control and is just a coach, and he'll have a say, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
You'd have to have, to me, a GM who is like known and good, because think about if you're like a 42-year-old GM, you're on your first or second gig, and he's going to try to alpha you out of everything, it'd be tough.
Which is crazy to me. Like, I get, man, he's considered the greatest of all time, but they're drafting that he has been in charge of in the last couple years.
Long
time, actually, yeah. Has been really bad. Really, really bad. So I don't know, man. I don't see it happening. Me personally, if I was him, I would just say, fuck it. I'd retire. I'm the greatest of all time. Because, I mean, if he goes somewhere and they're just god awful and it makes him look bad, he might not still be considered the greatest.
That's why he's going to sit out.
I would sit out and maybe wait for like the perfect job. But
he seems like the type of guy that will never stop coaching, though. It seems like if he didn't coach, he would like die in 2 years. Like, don't coach high school or something.
Well, so did
Right.
Nick Saban, though. You think that about Nick Saban,
Well,
too.
we're gonna see what happens with Saban. Saban in 2 years might say, "Look, baby, I can't do this. I'm done.
No way.
I'm going back."
He's
Well,
done.
speaking,
Sark will go to the league, and then he'll come to UT and finish up till he's about 82, and then
Yeah.
well, speaking of Belichick, and probably looks like he's probably sitting out, and we all know what job he's sitting out for, and what job that's going to be.
Texans, baby.
I thought y'all got the best coach ever, man. I thought y'all love him.
He won the coach of the year.
Y'all, you already turning on your coach, man. Listen to
I'm
this
joking.
shit.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
He won coach of the year. I'll take him.
Let me ask you this. Today, if they said, look, we're going to get Belichick and we're going to fire D'Amico, would you say yes or no?
No, I would say, what the fuck are we doing?
Okay. All right. Good.
Well,
good.
it's the other Texas team that he's going to be
He
going.
ain't. I've told you this.
Listen, but
he
you
is
can't
not going to the Cowboys.
Listen, you can't tell me that cloud is not going to be all over the Cowboys' head all season.
It will be over their head until Jerry is gone. Jerry is not going to hire somebody who is a same name or bigger than him. It's not happening.
No, but next season, when Mike's last contract year, you cannot say if Bill's sitting out this year, you cannot say that the talk all year is
it will be
the Cowboys struggle is if Bill and the Cowboys.
Yeah. And you know what Jerry's gonna say? He's gonna go a different route and get some offensive coordinator from the freaking,
like the Carolina
from the Chargers. He's not gonna do that.
I think that after Mike next year gets fired, I think y'all have like a splash hire on some young offensive coordinator, maybe even the Texans offensive coordinator. Because I don't.
You mean after Mike McCarthy wins the Super Bowl next year and he retires off into the sunset?
Yeah, sure, buddy. Okay.
And then Jerry will say, "Look, I told y'all I'm the smartest motherfucker alive. Here comes Belichick. I'll let him take over. I'm going out on the yacht." And we win 4 more in a row, and we go down as the team of the 2020s.
I think y'all need to put Jerry in a home.
And hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jerry's one of those dudes. If it's true, you can drink kids' blood and live forever or whatever. He's gonna live to be 100 or something. He got the money, so
he sold his soul
a long time ago,
way back in the 90s, dude.
Yeah.
He's good.
Probably before that. Yeah, no, I think it just is going to be what it is. Jerry is, no matter what, business is good. He bought it something for $200 million and it's worth 8-9 billion right now or whatever.
Crazy.
He don't care. He don't care, man.
Obviously, the biggest news coming out since we last recorded on Tuesday for Tuesdays on the Edge is obviously Jim Harbaugh leaving his alma mater, Michigan Wolverines, to go back to where he was the quarterback when it was the San Diego Chargers, now the LA Chargers, back with Harbaugh. It's interesting because now that really started the dominoes, right? Because going into this morning, half the teams that needed a head coach had hired a head coach. Now, as we're recording this, there's only 2 teams left. The Falcons and the Panthers both hired their head coaches today, with the Panthers going very interesting routes in the OC from Tampa Bay. Don't really think anyone had him kind of on the radar. And then obviously the Falcons getting the defense coordinator from Detroit, which is obviously a very good fit there for them, I think. If he can go hire good OC, that could be like a Texans situation, I think. If they can get the right quarterback and the right OC, they could be like the Texans this year, I think.
Atlanta got the DC from the Rams.
That's what I thought. It's not Glenn. It's not from the from the Lions.
I just want to throw it out there. My old high school football coach, his brother, that's Aaron Glenn. Like Aaron Glenn, his brother. So
really,
shout out Coach Glenn, great guy. But yeah.
So that leaves obviously the Seahawks, like we said, and the Commanders, who they're both saying really won't pop off anything until next week sometime. So that'll be interesting because there's a lot of candidates who have been getting interviews, and for only 2 jobs left. I mean, you got obviously Bill, you got Vrabel still, you still got Pete Carroll, you got Aaron Glenn, which is from Detroit. That's Detroit.
Yeah.
Then you got Ben Johnson, who's the OC there, who's almost got a head coaching job last year. Then you got Anthony Weaver and a couple Dan Quinn. The Texans offense coordinator has been getting interviews too. So
they still say Dan Quinn to Seattle. I don't know. Listen, how about this? Dan Quinn goes to Seattle. We get Vrabel, coach of the defense. He takes over after McCarthy gets fired next year.
Do you think Vrabel would, if he's going to have to take a DC role, you think he takes the Cowboys over going back?
That's one of the biggest jobs you could have, though. Like as far as notoriety. Excuse me.
Yeah.
To me, I think Jerry has a plan. Surprisingly, that crazy old son of a bitch. I think that he sees it as, hey, either Mike does good, or if not, I've got either Quinn, or if Quinn leaves, I could hire. I could get like a Mike Vrabel. So,
but I still think Vrabel's one of those people that's not going to put up with Jerry's shit. Like, what about Vrabel makes you think he's going to sit here and listen to Jerry every day? Like,
he's the most players coach of player. Like he's all for players. So
yeah, but he don't take shit. He ain't. I've heard Taylor Lewan talking about him. Like the first 2 years they hated him, and then he said that he said we couldn't stand him because he was strict. He came in and he busted ass, and then you got to weeded out the guys that weren't really about it, and then So I don't know. I just don't think Jerry's going to make any type of splash like that. It's going to be the same type of stuff. All that's wishful thinking in my Cowboys mind.
Well, obviously now with Jim back in the fold in the NFL, the Chargers, I think the Ravens go to the Chargers during the regular season next year. Obviously, can't have a rematch in the Super Bowl. Could eventually see it in an AFC championship one day, but no Super Bowl rematch like they had a while back. But they do play each other in the regular season. And speaking of the Ravens, that is the first game on Sunday, championship weekend. The Chiefs going on the road again after a crazy win in Buffalo to face the hot Ravens, who just absolutely squashed the Texans. Ravens minus 3.5. What are we feeling on that? First, we need to get Kobe's thoughts because we didn't have Kobe on last week, and he's probably glad he didn't because he probably would have said some things that would have made him look really, really dumb with how that performance was last weekend. But how are we feeling, Kobe?
Actually, man, I was scared about it all week. I mean, I would have preferred to play the Bills or the Chiefs. I knew the Ravens would be a hard test because of how hot they were, right? I mean, dude, I really looked through who the Ravens played and who they beat all year. They've beaten a lot of really good, beat the shit out of teams, dude. I guess I didn't realize that, but yeah, I think they win the whole thing, and it sucks because every single year for the last 3 years, I do a futures bet, and I always have the Ravens. And of course, this year I didn't. And this is the year I really think the Ravens, dude, it's either going to be the Ravens or San Francisco. So,
all right. So, so you got the Ravens taking care of the Chiefs. You like the Ravens minus the 3.5, or you think it's closer?
Man, that's tough. I would expect the Chiefs to be favored, so I'll take the Chiefs to cover, but the Ravens to win. So I'm like Justin Tucker 57-yarder to walk it off, maybe. I don't know.
That's funny.
Big boy, what are your thoughts on it?
I like the Ravens. I like the Ravens, minus the points. I think it's going to be a touchdown, 10 points. It's hard to say that because what Patrick Mahomes can do in the playoffs. I mean, he doesn't die, but I think that defense that the Ravens have is too good. And I think they're going to shut that down. And I think Lamar, it's just so hard with his running abilities and stuff like that and they just kind of strangle you out, like you look up and like, oh, they're up 14 and you're not gonna, they're gonna run the ball and then they're gonna be physical and play good defense and you're just not gonna come back. So that's what I think happens.
Yeah, I agree. I went against Patrick Mahomes last week, and playoff Patrick Mahomes, like you said, is a different type of guy. Okay, he's one of the best playoff QBs ever. He got 6 straight AFC championship games, 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 Super Bowls in the first 5 seasons.
It's amazing.
But with that being said, I got Lamar. Lamar is 1-3 against Mahomes. Okay, but in those games, he's completed only 56% of his passes, and that's not the Lamar that we've seen this year. So this is Lamar's moment. Okay, he's gonna come out. It's gonna be Lamar and the Ravens to finally set off the Chiefs' time ticking bomb, like I've been saying.
Like you said last week.
Yes, but it's going to be Lamar now. It's going to be Lamar's chance, and he's going to do it. Well, so I'm going to take the Ravens given the points.
That's interesting, the 56%, because of how bad the Chiefs' defenses have been compared to this year's. So
the Chiefs' defense is
different. Lamar, though, man.
That's a little concerning.
It's a different Lamar, man.
And it's a different Chiefs team.
But it's a different Ravens team too.
No, I mean on offense. I agree with you. Yeah.
But
I think I like the Ravens too. Probably minus the 3.5. I think, like y'all said, I think Lamar in the end of it's going to be the difference maker and finally take the next step in his career to a future Hall of Fame career and take down the Chiefs at home in front of a crazy Baltimore crowd. It's going to be even crazier than last weekend. I'll be interested to see how the Chiefs O-line can do, right? We saw what that crowd did to the Texans O-line, even though it's a very sub-poor O-line. But it will be interesting to see really how the Chiefs offense fares against that Ravens defense, because that Ravens defense is very, very good and will hit you in the mouth. And it's going to be interesting because we said last week in the Chiefs and Bills game, whoever got that running game going and stuck with it all the way through the end was going to be the team who won, and that was the Chiefs with Pacheco. But that Ravens defense, that linebacker crew is a little bit different than what the Bills have.
I mean, look at CJ. He got 3 points for y'all. That's good, man. He was balling, dude. It's Rookie of the Year. Fucking Hall of Famer.
Already way better than Dak. So hey,
please.
way better.
Wow.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see.
I'll put CJ as a top 5 quarterback right now.
Well, I'm sure you would. You're a Texans fan.
I think a lot of people would actually.
I don't know.
He said he would take him.
Don't fucking hate on him now. Did y'all pull up text messages?
And I will. But just imagine this. Is if Dak Prescott put up 3 points. Now, he threw 2 picks and he didn't do the best, but he put up more than 3 points. You know what would be said right now. It's just nobody's saying it.
What are we getting this 3 points at?
You put up 3. He scored. His offense scored 3 points.
Oh, because we had that return.
It was a return. Exactly.
Okay. Well, hey, man.
You know what kind of shit Dak would be catching if he put up 3 points?
Hold on a second, though. So
everything that Dak got, he deserved. He threw those 2 picks that were horrible.
So
And he got out of the 400 yards, 300 of them are when it didn't count. I agree with you 100%.
So what are we gonna argue here? Are you arguing CJ's not good?
No, I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying nobody's really talking about it. It's just good,
because he's a rookie. He's a rookie.
So it's okay.
No, hold on. Uh-huh. And I'll tell you the difference right now. It's because Dak plays for the Cowboys, who have a top 3 roster and should be Super Bowl contenders every year.
You're 100% right.
We literally were the 32nd ranked team to start this
season. But does that still mean that CJ shouldn't get no shit for what happened? Because all of a sudden, up until a week ago, we're going to the Super Bowl.
No, but
everybody made the tournament.
No. I'm not saying that he shouldn't get shit. He played like shit. Yes, he did throw a fucking pick, and I had something else to fucking say, and I fucking forgot because I'm just so mad about this right now. He didn't throw a pick, so yeah.
No, I agree. I think
I get
things are looking up for you, but I'm just saying.
I get it, 3 points, but at the same time, you got our fucking offensive coordinator doing triple fucking flea flickers and shit, dude. So it was the worst called game.
One play.
We played no. If you watch the tape, there was a bunch of bad. He called the worst.
You said the flea flicker.
He was doing interviews all fucking week.
Guys,
he said,
I think fuck
his job.
It comes down.
Dan Quinn was too.
It comes down to the Texans.
Yeah,
better
but Dan
than
Quinn didn't have a game because y'all fucking lost because y'all suck balls.
That was horrible. That was horrible.
We made it further and we have more playoff win. We started in 2002.
5 Super Bowls.
Our first year. Oh, fuck. When's the last one?
96.
We started in 2002 when we have more playoff wins than y'all. So,
okay.
No. So stop.
Okay.
Y'all aren't even Texas' team, brother. Anyways. Fuck. Fucking A.
All right, little brother. All right, little brother. Let's go on to the next game. So, what about this San Francisco Lions matchup? What do we think about that?
We got the Lions at San Fran. San Fran -7.
Little brother. Let's go Texans Cowboys. Can someone look this up right now? Texans Cowboys all-time record, please. I would love to know.
Hey, guess what,
I don't have Google.
The Texans get to go into Jerry World next year, and we'll see, right? They go into Jerry World next year, so we're gonna find out. Yes.
Oh, boys, we have to go to that game.
The Texans are in Jerry World next week.
Ryan?
But going on to this Lions 49ers.
Wait, real quick, all time.
Me and Ryan are sitting next to each other. I'm getting his fucking face.
We're probably going to both go to jail, but let's go.
All time. All time, they've only played 6 times. The Cowboys are 4-2.
Damn, I thought it was going to be us.
Oh, darn. I know y'all did win the first one. Jerry, the first time, because y'all played their opening season, they played the first game.
19
Jerry was just so pissed. Yeah.
He was probably sick to hit. He's a goddamn Houston fucking Texas. He was pissed, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Coop.
But yeah, next year at Jerry World. So there you go. You'll get to see it.
Oh, man. I didn't know that. I can't wait for that one. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But going on to this 49ers-Lions game, okay? The 49ers have been my favorite to win the Super Bowl. But after their performance last week, I don't know. It just looked a little skeptical.
He's just shaking his head already.
It looked a little skeptical last week.
Just wait.
Okay? No, listen. They looked a little skeptical. Debo didn't practice. Listen, Debo didn't practice again today, so he may not play. Listen, if Debo does not play, it's going to be a closer game than what people think. The Lions play hard nose football. You can say whatever you want about them. They play hard football. You got Goff, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Gibbs. They're all playing good postseason football right now. So I think Lions in a close one to make it to the Super Bowl, to make history, the first time in franchise history. They beat the 49ers. They play tough football, nose football. They're going to pull this one out somehow. They're going to do it. And it's plus, money line is plus 280, by the way. So
yeah, apparently Coop wants to put $45 on it.
I did.
I totally gonna have to hit up one of y'all to put that bet in because I'm not putting that in for him.
Why?
So I don't know if I'm an official employee, but I think the Sports Roundtable LLC needs to drug test Cooper immediately. He needs to get a random drug test.
I'm telling you, I feel him, man. I feel him on this. The Lions are hot. It's like that destiny shit, man.
They struggled against the Packers.
Destiny shit. It's because the Cowboys got the destiny against them, huh? The Cowboys got the destiny against the Lions.
Yeah, they should have lost that game. You're right. That was bullshit. I'm just saying, man. Something about Dan Campbell, and he has a belief
in football right now.
I just, for some reason, have a feeling it's going to be that game where you're expecting that, and then San Francisco
just blows them out of the water.
Yeah, dude.
Listen, the Lions have lost their 5 games this year, right? How many of those losses do you think were on the road?
5.
4 out of 5. The only loss at home was against the Packers.
Yeah.
In a close game. All the other losses on the road all season.
Okay, but then they also were on the road. The one loss was against the Cowboys on the road. So they should have won that one. But
yeah, a loss. Take the extra point. Shit.
Like just saying. I don't think that really means anything, honestly.
Yeah. I didn't know he
does have a point, Coop.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All your losses besides one are on the road, and all your other close games have been on the road.
Well, Cowboys were undefeated at home and got smoked. So
exactly.
It's the playoffs. I want to agree with Coop, man. I do. But if Debo plays, I don't see that happening.
I know, but I made my prediction off of what the news was today. He did not practice.
There's no way he's not going to play.
He did not practice today.
Well, he didn't play last week. I mean, he came out for a second and then went back in the locker room, man.
I just don't think that one player is like, yeah.
In that offense, it does. He means a lot in that offense, I think.
It runs through him, man. I mean,
I'm just saying they're plus 280 for a reason. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And besides quarterback, most of the time I agree with you. Especially with all the weapons that San Francisco has.
And true, I will say this. One way you can beat San Francisco is by just throwing the fucking ball, dude. You can beat San Fran because their DBs aren't that good. Their
linebackers
defense is really good. Great linebackers, great line. But the DBs are their weak spot. I can see Jared Goff fucking 350 and 3 just popping off.
Amon-Ra and Laporta. Laporta's going to be huge.
The thing is, the Lions' pass defense is worse than San Francisco's. So if Brock Purdy just goes out,
I can see Purdy also 300. Yeah, yes,
even without Debo. I don't know if you saw Kittle did an interview. I don't know who it was during the week. It may have been Pat, but he even said last week's game, Cooper's talking about how bad the offense looked. He even said last week's game was literally he thought Debo would have had 3 touchdowns, if he was playing the whole game. That whole game last week was supposed to be Debo.
Well,
that's why that they were slow until the fourth quarter.
And that's why the offense runs through him, and it kind of backs up everything Cooper's saying. So
that's during the middle of the game, not when they have a whole week to practice.
He was hurt all week, bro. He didn't hurt it in that game.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
He's been hurt all season.
I know.
It was a different, he got hurt again from a different injury in that game.
I'm just saying, I think the offense runs through him more than what people think. I think he's a big part of that offense. And,
no doubt.
Take him out of the equation.
He's a big part.
Take him out of the equation.
You still have the best running back in the league and a top 2 tight end in the league.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you still have Brandon Ayuk, who's pretty damn good.
Ayuk is good, and Kittle is good. Yeah, and then McCaffrey.
Still have threats.
Right.
And you have a quarterback who's taking you to 2 NFC championships in a row.
Purdy, I don't know how we feel about. Let's see.
You
some
need to go
Purdy.
watch Pat and all them talk the last 2 days about Purdy.
What do you mean? Wait, no, hold on. What do you mean? Let's see.
Hey, Tuesday's show, he was just talking shit on Purdy the whole time.
No, I didn't.
What do you mean? No, but what do you mean? Let's see, as if we haven't seen what Purdy can do.
Exactly.
It's been 2 straight seasons
with all those weapons.
I'm
with the elite running back, elite receiver, elite tight end.
You could put Dak Prescott on that team, and they do the same thing.
Bro, Purdy's one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league.
If not better.
I'm so sick of that fucking art. You could say the same thing about Peyton Manning, the same thing about fucking Tom Brady, Joe Montana.
Tom Brady didn't have near the weapons that
Tom Brady
that San Francisco had.
Julian Edelman,
who did he have?
Danny Amendola and Gronk.
Tom Brady had a year with
had Gronk,
and he broke fucking
one
records.
year. You're right, and he broke every fucking record out there, and they only lost one game. Was in the Super Bowl.
What about Peyton Manning, who's considered a top 3 QB of all time?
He had Dallas Clark, and he had Dallas Clark, and he had the 2 receivers.
Joseph Adai. I can talk about the Colts forever because they beat the fuck out of us for years.
Yeah.
Right? I'm so sick of that. Weapons. Every quarterback has
to have weapons. You're 100% right.
Your job as a GM is to get your quarterback weapons.
I agree.
That's so stupid yes, it makes him better, but you put a lot of other QBs in Brock's spot. They're not doing as good as Brock Purdy.
Not in that offense. Brock is a literal genius, and for
2 straight seasons.
And Michael Lombardi was talking about today, like how complex that offense is and how people like actually need to give credit for how Brock just has that thing down to a T. Like just the whole offense complexity with Shanahan and how he can go out there and literally just controls the offense play by play and makes all the right decisions. And besides that one game, doesn't turn the ball over besides when he threw the 4 picks in that one game.
And when the Ravens stomped him, was that the game you're talking about? When they absolutely stomped the living.
Do you expect him to go win every fucking game?
Is that the one you're talking about?
Do you expect him to go win every fucking game?
No,
he's
but
a
you don't
genius.
that bad.
I thought he was a genius.
No,
right. You don't that bad. Come on, man.
How Coop talks about CJ Stroud, you think he was a fucking genius too, and he could go score a touchdown. But
wait, all y'all talk about him, but
okay, CJ did. Oh my gosh, CJ.
There you go, Kate. Now you see what I'm talking about.
I will say this. CJ's offense is the same exact offense. So
no, and with CJ had way less weapons, correct?
Way less, and
CJ all the props in the world,
but weapons don't matter according to Kobe. So what does that matter? If you're a good quarterback, weapons don't matter, right? I mean that's what you just said. So
didn't CJ kind of prove that point? He had the best touchdown to interception ratio in the league. So.
Okay.
I mean,
he scored 3 points.
Dak only has
3 points. Where were the Cowboys at?
They were at home.
Hey,
sitting in Cancun.
Yeah, y'all come on down. Hey, Dak will have a drink waiting for CJ when he gets to the resort.
I mean,
CJ's in the lab.
All Dak has is one weapon too. I mean, Jake Ferguson counts as half of one, so that's it. And they couldn't do anything.
You've got pretty good weapons on the Cowboys, and Dak still fucking sucks dick. So, okay, hey, I got one. I know my time is almost up. I got one question. If you put Brock Purdy on another team, is he still a starting quarterback?
What team?
Okay. Shit, I will choose a random team. If you put Brock Purdy on Seattle,
he's better than Geno. I don't know. I mean, Geno pretty. I don't know.
God, fucking A. Here we go. Okay, if could Brock Purdy start? What quarterbacks would Brock Purdy not start over? Yeah. I should have fucking asked you that, Ryan.
Okay, Joe Burrow.
Okay, well, yeah.
He ain't starting over Joe Burrow. I mean, I guess if Aaron Rodgers, if you want to count him.
Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
Stroud.
Would you rather have him or the dude at the Chargers?
Herbert.
Since everybody's so high on Herbert.
I'd rather have
Herbert are about to ball it together. I want y'all to know.
I'm a Herbert stan. He's a stud, dude.
I love Herbert.
Yeah. Well, he got weapons.
He got
weapons, and he ain't even making the playoffs.
He doesn't have a coach.
Every team now.
The Cowboys offensive coordinator.
Every team has weapons. Ryan, I know you can hear me. Every team has weapons.
I had to close the door. No, but you say weapons, and then you're going back and forth, dog. So I mean, what is it? So what's the excuse for him?
Who?
For Herbert. Not even making the playoffs. What's your excuse? The coach?
It's the same excuse Dallas had last year with
the defense.
And it was an excuse because we saw what happened. It wasn't all fucking Kellen Moore. I can tell you that.
It's got nothing to do with Herbert, dude. He plays lights out.
The defense
He's
and
great.
that coach.
Bro, it's the worst defense in terms of like passing yard, deep plays, all that. It was awful. What the fuck you talking about? It had nothing. He's got great stats. He's got a great.
He has great stats. You're right about that.
He's got a great.
He has great stats, and that's all he got. He ain't doing shit.
All right.
I'll take Herbert over fucking Dak. I'll take Herbert as a top 8 QB. I'll put Dak in number fucking 18. How about that?
Well, then you'd be wrong at 18.
Adam Sherry, we appreciate you coming on, speaking the wisdom. We got our next.
Man, I'm fired up, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, these are last football chats for a little bit. You know,
wait, hold on.
We got next.
Still have the draft.
Super Bowl and the draft.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we're getting to the end of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Adam Sherry will be making his appearances. Don't worry.
Oh yeah.
You, Robert. Hey, you, Adam Sherry, fucking Robert Kraft, and Deshaun Watson. Y'all go out and fucking get y'all a rub and tug so y'all can fucking feel good about yourself.
Dude, no bullshit. I need a massage. I'm fucking
stressed, be careful. I'm sure they're watching them now.
Especially in Houston, you know.
All right,
this just did. Sports commentator Adam Sherry sent to prison.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week
for
the Super Bowl preview.
Yes, sir. See y'all boys later.
All
right, later.
All right.
That was a good one. That was good. I like when our conversations get like that.
We got 2 more minute and a half till our roundtable chat of the week joins us. Big boy, how quick can you do your Longhorns in the NFL?
It's more than 2 minutes, probably.
All right.
But you want me to go?
We can wait.
Okay.
We'll just wait.
Because it's a little end of the year recap.
We gotta have your perfection. We don't want to rush it.
Yeah, it's I was pretty proud of some guys, man. Pretty proud of them.
For sure. So I don't know what it was. The all rookie team, I want to say.
Yeah, Bijan.
Both the choices running backs on there.
Yeah.
No Devin A-Chain for your A&M lovers. Whoever A&M lovers watch.
A-Chain's good though. I like him, man. He's so
good,
fast.
But he
maybe if he doesn't
get hurt and then he fell off.
He got hurt. He was hurt.
Yeah.
A guy with wheels, when he gets hurt, it's like, well.
Yeah.
Be interesting. Real quick, big boy, before our guest joins us, who are you going with for the Super Bowl matchup? You got Ravens.
I want the Lions, but I think it's going to be San Fran and
don't
Baltimore.
Go back now.
I think Baltimore rolls.
Don't go back now. You're the only one with me. Don't go back now.
I said they're going to cover 7. I don't know if they're going to win outright.
Hang with me, baby.
I hope so, man. I like the Lions.
All right. Nick, can you hear us?
Yeah, did I interrupt?
No, you're good. No, you're good.
Okay.
All right. Joining us now for this week's roundtable chat, as we like to call it, is Nick Wilson, current senior pitcher at DBU, was at Southern last year in Louisiana, appeared 13 starts, ranked in the top 10 in the SWAC in 6 different categories, second in ERA and third in both strikeouts, 101, and opponent batting average with 222. How are we doing, Nick?
Doing good, doing good. It sounds weird when you name off those stats, bro. It doesn't even sound like it happened.
I say that sounds like a stat line there.
It's pretty crazy, pretty crazy.
It is. Well, we know, at least I know your journey. Obviously going back to the JUCO days, playing on the JUCO fields. But real quick, kind of just to get it started off with the bang, kind of just share a little bit about your journey since probably your senior year of high school when you first decided that you were going to go play college ball.
Yeah.
Kind of how you ended up where you are now at DBU.
Yeah. So I had a little interesting story. In high school, I served as a manager my freshman and sophomore year. And then a couple kids got caught vaping, and I got an opportunity to pitch sophomore year. Did my thing, made the team junior year. I think I had like 6 innings on JV. And then senior year just kind of came out of nowhere, really. It was a year where we had a lot of people that needed to step up. And so I was lucky to be one of those guys. I actually got a playoff win at DBU, which is crazy foreshadow, but it was nuts. And then got an opportunity to go to Vernon College. Loved my 2 years there. But I was pretty close to being done at Vernon my second year there because as you know, we weren't very good. And I already applied to UT, got it and everything. So I was excited, you know. It was really McLennan. McLennan did it to me that year. I was like, dude, I was getting peppered by him. I was like, I'm done. I can't deal with it. But they were insane that year. So I really did discredit myself. But I just found myself digging deep that year and just had to do, and just felt like if it was going to be my last opportunity, then I had to make something happen. And originally I was committed to Rogers State out of Vernon, and then it's funny. It's stories full of crazy things because me and my mom went to Austin actually to go watch Southern play in the Austin Regional, and it was coming on the way back that. What's up? It was coming on the way back that I got a text from Southern's coach that he was interested, and then the rest of history from there. Had a great year at Southern. I was planning on spending all 3 years there, but I had a really good opportunity to go play at a high level close to home. Got blessed with the opportunity to go play for Team USA this past summer, which was amazing. And then got to play in Seattle for an all-star game. So many blessings in 2023. It was just amazing to see how God led me through such a journey. And it's like I going through it, you know, it's rough, but like thinking back on it now, you know, I wouldn't be standing here today without everything that had happened. So it's amazing to see how God worked through myself, and then to see how things can be in 2024. I'm just very excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty cool story there. But what aspects of your game do you feel that have improved most since your JUCO level?
Just really, I had to put on some pounds because I came into Vernon at 160, and then focused really hard on nutrition and weight room. Came out 195, and that was really half the battle, was just getting the weight up, and then had to develop some pitches. This past year was really the slider because I was having a pretty mediocre year to start, and I think I had like a 7-some ERA, and then I got smacked around by Gremlin, had like led up like 6 runs, but ended up winning somehow. But I was kind of found it. I was like, dude, I gotta change something because I wanted to be a turnaround for our team because we weren't really doing the best at the time, and I had to dig deep, and so I really found I had to change something. I felt like I had to change my off speed, and so my slider got a lot more firm and had a lot more break on it. And then coming here, they're saying like, yeah, dude, like the slider's an absolute outlier. And so that's really what elevated my game a lot. And just, of course, velocity. But yeah, having that second pitch was major for me.
Nice. So what, I know you've been to a couple schools, but you don't have to go through each one, but what do you think your most memorable part about playing collegiate baseball has been so far? Either a game or a certain, certain thing that happened?
Yeah, honestly, the most memorable part isn't even on the field. I mean, of course, there's so many great memories on the field, and it's tough to point out like what's been the greatest over this journey. But I'd say the friends that I made over this time has been so amazing. Just um, people I played with at Vernon, I still talk to just about every day. And same thing with Southern. I just made so many great friends out there, and it's just like that's what I love about baseball is the camaraderie that it brings, and just how great of friendships it can bring. And so I just like have so many memories saved on Snapchat, my camera roll, just about, and Kay would probably know, just regular baseball stuff, just like things that you do on a daily basis that just is weird, and it's just so much fun and just like lifelong memories. So that's probably what my favorite takeaway is.
That's a great teammate right there.
That's sure. Well, especially at the JUCO level.
Mm-hmm.
And Vernon too. So
yeah.
There ain't not much to do.
There ain't much out there besides the team. That's about it.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's out there on the struggle bus. So we all gotta at least enjoy it,
No doubt. For this year, before we get to this next question, are we looking at coming out of the pen or starter at DBU this year?
Right now I'm just competing for a starting spot right now, which is an absolute blessing to come to such a great school like this and be considered in the starting position. But it's going to depend on what happens these next couple of weeks. It's a lot of great competition up there, and I could be a starter or I could be first out the pen. But I mean, that's really up to the coaches. I feel like whatever three we put out there is going to dominate on the weekend, and so. If they feel like that's my position, that's fine. But if they want me to be a reliever, that's also great. I just want to be the best position I can to help my team,
For sure. Well, with that being said, whether starter or out of the pen, kind of how do you approach, and I'm sure it's really grown over the years going from Vernon to Southern now and now the DBU. Mm-hmm. How do you kind of approach your in-season training and like really conditioning as a pitcher to stay at that peak performance throughout the long season that it is?
Yeah. We actually just went over this at a meeting, and we had got a clip from pitcher Corbin Burns, and he was saying that he splits his weeks up into 5 days, or like his weeks. He has 5-day weeks because that's how much time he has in between starts. And so that's how I saw the process of starting, because last year, other than summer ball, the summer before, that was my first year starting. And so kind of finding a routine was extremely important. And I think once I found that routine, then it was kind of smooth sailing from there. So I'd say the approach is just finding a good routine to stick with. And usually for me, we used to hammer, like after workout or after pitching days, I used to think that like starters would rest, but no, like the day after is whenever you hammer your body the most, and like that's honestly how you get all the soreness out and everything. And so heavy recovery right after, and then heavy lifting day right after as well. Like it sucks, but sometimes you just got to go through it, and honestly it makes your body feel so much better after. And then just maintaining being able to build up to a bullpen, and then going from that bullpen to the start. And so it's really just like a build up process, and then just like a rinse and repeat type deal.
For sure. And I know baseball season's just getting started. Can you talk about some chemistry and the teamwork within your team going into this year?
Yeah, chemistry is one of the most important parts about baseball, is because like it's an individual sport at sometimes, but like you need your team, because you can go out there, pitch a perfect game and still lose. And so well, not lose. You can pitch a no-hitter and still lose. And so, and so being a part of a team is the most important part about being here. And so it helps whenever you're trapped in the same place. Not exactly trapped, but whenever you're in the same place for 5-6 hours a time. And we eat lunch and dinner here together every day. And so that's really our time to kind of relax and get to know each other better. And then we have 2 ping pong tables set up in our locker room, and just it's a pretty small campus, and so we're all just basically a walk away from each other, and so that's what it makes it easy to help to like it makes it easy to go out there and pitch knowing that your guys are backing you on and off the field, and so yeah, I think we do a great job of camaraderie over here.
Nice. I know you played at two D1 programs now. What's the biggest difference between when you were at Southern and now that you're at DBU?
Well, the facilities is a big one for sure because now we have covered cages, pitching lab, a weight room, all of that under the stadium. And then at Southern, we just had cages under a freeway. And so having this equipment and having this kind of facilities is just a really big difference. But I think it's also the mentality is because at Southern, like I hate to say it, but like on our midweeks, we kind of felt like we didn't really have that much of a chance. And so we'd roll out like pin guys and just I feel like we didn't really try to compete as much as we can here. But here at DBU, it's just like we're playing TCU, Oklahoma State, OU on midweeks, and those games are extremely important because that can keep you from being in the tournament, out of the tournament, hosting a regional, not hosting a regional. And so the approach to every game is just and the approach to every game and the intensity to every single practice is just probably one of the bigger differences is because like at Southern, I feel like it was on your own if you really wanted to bring the intensity to practice, but at DBU it's just like you got to bring it or you're gonna get left behind. And so
yeah, as the old man on the podcast, I always ask younger guys like yourself, if one, what's your degree in, and two, if things don't work out with sports, what is your plan, or do you have one for after college?
Yeah, that's always something that's in the back of my head and always something I want to be prepared for. My major right now is I'll be graduating with criminal justice degree in May, and with interdisciplinary studies and communications. And so I kind of want to handle more of the communication side. My degree plan was moving more towards criminal justice at Southern, and so that's the major they had put me in. And then here I got a little bit more freedom of choice to choose where I wanted to go, and so communications was a great area for me to be at. And so I'm hoping my sister does marketing communications at Southwest Airlines. And so I kind of see like what she gets to do on a day-to-day basis. And so I really like what she does for her job. And so I'd like to do the same thing for sports because, I have such a passion for all kinds of sports. And so I would just love to be a part of marketing communications in this area for sure.
Nice.
For sure. Well, obviously this is current senior pitcher at DBU, Nick Wilson. Before we let you get out of here, got a couple more questions for you. First, is that game against OU this year, is that in Norman or at DBU?
We have two of them, so we'll play home and away. I'm not exactly sure the dates, but
I don't know why I did not know that.
I think they come here in February, and then we go there in like around April, I think.
Well, make sure you pitch that game here. I'll be right back home playing.
Yeah, I'll tell Coach. I'll tell Coach that Cade Weber want me to be out there.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Well, kind of last one before you get out here. Obviously, DBU's they've always been big time, but after really the last couple of years after they made that run, we're almost going to the World Series. They've been a very well-known name. So kind of what would you say your individual goals are, obviously, going into this year, and then kind of what those team goals are?
I'd say individual goals and team goals are kind of coincide with each other. Here we talk about not focusing on the result too much and focusing on just like, hey, like I want to go get drafted, or like we want to go make Omaha, because like those things are great to say, but you have to have focus on the process in order to get there, because that's the only thing that we can control is the process. And so I would say our main goal is to just show up every day and get 1% better, because if you get 1% better, then you're going to look up and be exactly where you want to be. And so like that's what we do, is just pour everything into the process and then trust what God has set out for us after that, and just trust the work that we put in, and then the rest will come after for sure.
No doubt.
Awesome.
Well, I know you got one of my two fellow Grayson teammates over there too. And
yeah, one of them's actually in the other room right now. It's my roommate. Did you play with DeBerry?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
my
nice.
last year, old Jaron and Chayton.
Yeah,
big crowds.
Two personalities for sure.
Yeah, two different ones. But
yeah.
we appreciate you coming on and joining us for this roundtable chat. I know.
Yeah.
We got your cousin. Yeah, that is right. Your cousin's coming on next week, joining us. But good luck at DBU this year, man.
I appreciate it. So glad to be a part of this such famous establishment.
Oh yeah.
Well, man, good luck, and I'll make sure and pop out whenever y'all are up here in Norman for sure.
All right, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all, and good luck.
Thank you, Nick.
Sir, see ya.
Thank you.
All right, that was Nick Wilson, current DBU pitcher.
Awesome.
Just transferred over for sure.
How tall is he?
Man, I want to say he's a little bit taller than me, so he's probably like 6'3", maybe 6'4", maybe.
You can tell he's been in the weight room. His shoulders, he got some shoulders on him. Yeah.
JUCO level, he was a long, like just lanky, just little skinny kid, like you said. And
yeah,
he really, I guess his last year at Vernon kind of started to hit the velo more and started to kind of blow up a little bit, and then got to go to Southern and just went crazy. Velo jumped like crazy at Southern. And then, like you said, got that opportunity with Team USA and the All-Star game with all the big-time dudes from all the HBCUs around, and got the chance to go to DBU now because he's from Dallas too. What's up, man?
He's from Dallas.
How are you? Yeah. But yeah,
that's awesome, man. He seems like a great kid, man.
For sure. Yeah. And obviously, like you said, we'll have his cousin on. I don't know if you knew that, big boy, but they're cousins.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Camden, yep. So we'll have him on next week for our roundtable chat baseball version. Obviously, baseball season getting on. Pumped for that. Joining us in about 13 minutes now will be our special guest for figuring out the 40 on what's going on, all things Texas sports. But before we get to that, big boy, let's throw it over to you for your.
We'll do the end of the season. Yep. End of the season. Longhorns in the NFL. We had some great Longhorns this week or this year.
Hey, and you're gonna have a lot more next year to worry about. By the way,
I hope so. I hope we keep them coming.
Exactly. You're gonna have some lot more.
So my MVP moment, it's kind of weird, of the season was my boy Andrew Beck with the 85-yard TD return on the kickoff. The only guy over 250 or something like that to ever return a kickoff.
Yep.
So I had to put him in there. He also had 11 catches for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He played a big role in that Texans
offense. He started, especially at the end. Yeah, he started really getting blocking a lot of run.
And doing those types of things. Yeah. He was a big part of their offense for sure.
Yeah, he was. Give a shout out to Sam Cosme. He started all 17 games at right guard for the Commanders. So, he was doing his thing there. Cameron Dicker, which got the snub, he played in all 17 games. He was 31 for 33, 93.9% field goals, long of 55. He was perfect with PATs, 35 for 35. And as far as y'all fantasy dorks, 128 points for the season. So, I definitely think he got the snub, but Quandre Diggs, he played in 17 games, 17 starts, 95 tackles, a tackle for loss, an interception, and 5 passes defended. Quandre's doing good up there in Seattle. So my combo MVPs were the safeties for the Dolphins. I just think they had a great combination there. I think they started together like 13 or 14 games. So, that's impressive for what they did as a combo there. It's kind of funny that they're in the pros doing it. My boy Jordan Hicks, he would have been, a Pro Bowler if he didn't get hurt 13 games started, 107 tackles, 61 solo, 4 tackles for loss, a sack, 2 QB hits, forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, a fumble return for a touchdown, and an interception. And, I was real high on him until he got hurt. He was really having a magical season. But we'll see what he does next year. He'll be back. So the one I don't like talking about, we've talked about this a little, but my boy Charles Omenihu, he did good. And he only played in 11 games, but he had 28 tackles, 18 solo, 7 sacks in 11 games. For a DT, that's good.
Yeah.
5 tackles for loss, 11 QB hits, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 passes defended. So, Bijan, of course, you got to throw him in there. 17 games, 214 carries for 976. It's 24 yards shy of 1,000 rushing. He had average 4.6 yards. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. And then, receiving where we love him at, he had 58 receptions for 487, averaged 8.4 and 4 TDs. So he had 1,463 yards total, which is impressive. And, like we said earlier, he made the all-rookie team. So
how sick is Artie Smith going to be next year when he sees a prominent OC go in and actually
man, yeah. I don't know why he didn't get more touches.
Like, I know obviously he had the receiving touchdowns, but 4 rushing touchdowns is very criminal.
Yeah.
And for how much of a down year he and the limited carries he did get to almost have 1,000 yards is very impressive.
Yeah,
he's averaging 4 yards a carry. Like,
think how
that's
many
a first
games,
down.
Think
4.5.
Yeah, think about how many
4.5
games
yards a carry, even better.
Yeah.
There were plenty of games he only had like 8 carries and under 15 yards.
Exactly. I was about to say there was a couple games where he had like 11 and 14 or
and
something.
And then he was sick or something that one game.
The big thing for him was being healthy all year. That was the biggest thing, and which he was always pretty healthy. I mean, at UT too. And going back to it,
I still remember when he got hit and flipped over on his neck.
How is he still playing ball, man?
Anybody else would be dead. Like, you had to be just such a superior athlete to just survive that. It's
I remember that too. Yeah.
And then I got, our only Pro Bowler, Justin Tuck, 32 for 37 on field goals. He was 86.5%. So Cameron Dicker actually had a better percentage as him. But he was 51 for 52 on the point after tries. And so he had 147 points total. And again, he was the only UT Pro Bowler as of now. Some guys might,
drop
out or whatever. But so, Justin Tucker, he's the GOAT. He'll probably be in the Hall of Fame. But I think Cameron Dicker is the next one coming up. And Dixon too. I didn't put his stats in here, but he had a great year punting for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I said it all year with Rojo. I think he may really kind of burst on.
He's just not giving enough touches. Him and Deontay were kind of fighting for it.
Yeah, I mean he started to get more towards the end of the season. Be interesting to see for sure. But we got our guy joining us now.
Perfect time.
That was perfect timing, Cade.
Yeah.
No doubt.
What's going on, guys? How's it going?
How you doing?
Bob.
Doing good, man. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Tommy. Big fan of the show. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Just like mentioned, this is Tommy Yarrish joining us from Horns 24/7, their video producer over there. Obviously, for our Peep fans watching, we've another Horns 24/7 member over at Eric Henry. Now we got another guy from his team, and Tommy coming to talk all things Texas sports, like we like to call it, figuring out the 40 on this segment. Texas roster getting going, workouts starting up. Of course, the portal's never ending, it feels like. and then right in the prime of recruiting season and basketball. So we got Tommy coming in to talk with us and give us kind of all his insights on all those that I just mentioned. But we'll kind of get
First, did he say it correctly? The last name.
Yarrish.
Yarrish.
You're completely fine. I have heard so many bad mispronunciations of my last name. You would have no idea. So I'm through the days of being offended by it at this point.
Tommy Yarrish.
There you go.
Well, kind of looking at it, what are your thoughts on UT's roster football wise? Going into the spring, obviously, we know workouts just started. And kind of what position do you think or would you like to see Sark add post spring ball when that transfer portal window does open back up again?
Well, I think when you look at this roster from head to toe coming into this coming season, you think about what Texas has lost, right? You think about the loss of Jonathan Brooks, you lose Xavier Worthy, you lose Adonai Mitchell, you lose Christian Jones at right tackle, and then on defense, your two dogs in the middle of the defensive line are gone, and Byron Murphy and Tavondre Sweat. Guys, I don't know if we'll ever see a tandem like that in quite some time, just because those two were so good. They're in the middle of the defensive line, but they also got some pretty big returners. I think Quinn Ewers obviously is the headline grabber when you think of returners, but it's very important to have guys like Jahdae Barron coming back, guys like David Benda deciding to come back, Alfred Collins deciding to come back might prove to be one of the biggest wins for Steve Sarkisian in the offseason when it comes to keeping his roster together. When it comes to positions that I'm maybe a little worried about heading into next season is I think defensive line could probably use one more guy, and I'm sure you guys have touched on that, and Texas fans know it. Part of the holdback on that was finding a defensive line coach. Well, you can check that box off after today. And, they get Tia'Lili Savea in the transfer portal, which is definitely a good add. He's a great run defender, but you would still probably like another body in there. So I'm thinking the next transfer portal period is probably going to be when the Longhorns find that extra body. But if not, I think you have to rely a lot on Sadir Mitchell would probably be my pick, one of the more highly recruited guys in his class, and just hope that he has come along like they hoped they would. I hope that he has developed like the staff has wanted him to develop, because a 3-4 man rotation might not cut it all the time in the SEC, which is so heavy on the trenches. And Steve Sarkisian has talked about it a lot since he got to Texas, wanting to turn around how they are on the offensive and defensive lines. I think it's very impressive what he's done with the offensive line, but right now the defensive line, I think, kind of raises some eyebrows, and rightfully so. But again, that second portal period is a chance to maybe fix that. I wouldn't call it an issue, because I don't really think it's an issue right now. And it may not end up being an issue at all, even if things stay as they are. Who knows? But you certainly would feel, I think, a little bit more comfortable with one more guy there.
For sure. And, you kind of mentioned it, the young guy and Sadir Mitchell. I mean, you got those other young guys like Jeray Bledsoe, who've been there for just over a year now too, that could step up. But looking at more young guys with this early enrollee, we know 2024 class, almost every single member was early enrollee, a bunch of big ones. Unfortunately, not very many on that interior defensive line, like you said, with DeAndre Robinson not coming anymore. But kind of any insight maybe on how all the early enrollees in the 24 class kind of are looking since arriving, and who do you look to kind of be those impact guys like an Anthony Hill or Cedric Baxter this coming season?
Well, I wish I could give you insight, but I think there's only been like 2 days of practice so far. So I'm not sure how any of the guys are looking just yet. But if you wonder about potential impact guys, really, I look to the secondary class that Texas brought in. I think you could argue that this is the best secondary class in the country. You think Xavier Filsaime, who Texas was able to get at the buzzer, Kobe Black hops into the fold as well. I'm just trying to Wardell Mack. Nobody's talking about Wardell Mack for whatever reason. Wardell Mack was a huge flip for this class. I absolutely love his game, so I think he's going to be huge for Texas in the long run. And then other guys like Jordan Johnson, Rebel coming in the fold too. So Guys, you know as well as I do, Texas's secondary was questionable a lot last year. It was really questionable against Washington when Michael Penix just ascended to whatever you want to call that form of Michael Penix and threw all over him. So that might be a spot where Steve Sarkisian's kind of forced to turn to some of the younger guys and throw them into the heat of the battle early and kind of forge them with fire. You want talented guys in that position, and I think they've got plenty of talented guys. So Xavier Filsaime, Kobe Black, the two higher rated guys, obviously I think have a big shot there, but I'm a big fan of Wardell Mack. I think that he's definitely going to be an impact guy. And then you obviously, if we're talking about guys who could potentially, have an impact from day one, Colin Simmons has to be somewhere on that list too. I mean, this is the guy that Texas wanted in this 2024 class, and they got him. And, you could say that Texas not necessarily could use help in the pass rush, but their pass rush could be better. You've got the two guys returning in Ethan Burke and Barron Sorrell. So that's great for two great guys for Colin Simmons to kind of step in and learn from in spring ball and in summer ball and heading into the season. And you've got another guy in Colton Vasek too, who's been out this whole season basically with an injury, but another very talented guy who, if he gets healthy, he can get going. So really a lot to like from this early enrollee class that, kind of like you mentioned earlier, Rowdy, that a record number of early enrollees for Texas in this 2024 class. I think that could prove to be really big when we reflect on this season, especially if those guys in the secondary play well.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned, Texas has lost a bunch of people, and one of those groups being the wide receiver core. Like you mentioned, it's A.D. Mitchell, Worthy, J.T. Sanders, Whittington's gone, right? So Sark liking to spread it out with 4 receivers. I'll put Sanders in there as well because he's pretty much receiver too. With all the new additions at wide receiver, how do you see the rotation working, and who do you see the top 4 guys being?
Well, that's a great question, Coop. And first of all, when we go back to that first question that you guys asked me about, restocking some of the positions where Texas lost, I don't think he could have done any better in the wide receiver room.
No doubt.
I mean, just extremely impressive what Steve Sarkisian was able to put together. Obviously, Isaiah Bond is your home run hitter. He's the big name in the room. And then Silas Bolden comes in. They get Amari Niblack to transfer to from Alabama to fill in that tight end position, like you mentioned, Coop, with J.T. Sanders heading pro. But really, I love Matthew Golden. I think Matthew Golden is going to be a very surprising piece for Texas fans because they know he's good, but I think he's going to surprise a lot of people with just how good he is. I covered Matthew Golden in high school, or Matthew Golden, excuse me, in high school. See, those names are confusing. Golden,
it's going to be tough.
Golden, and Bond. It's like they're all so interchangeable, like all 3 of them. Anyways, so I covered Matthew Golden in high school during his Klein Kane days. He was actually teammates with Jaden Blue. And so I got to kind of watch both of them go through the high school ranks. I never understood why Matthew Golden wasn't getting SEC looks during his high school days. I mean, the dude was fantastic. He was incredible to watch. So seeing him come to a school like Texas is no surprise to me. And I think that he's going to have a great impact, especially in the return game. Steve Sarkisian loves to have his skill guys in special teams, and Matthew Golden returning punts, or Silas Bolden returning punts even, is going to be very hard to deal with for certain opposing teams this year. But if we're thinking top 4, I like Isaiah Bond in there. I like Matthew Golden in there. I think you kind of interchange guys like Silas Bolden and Jonte Cook. I could see either one of them fighting for that 3rd spot. And then you have to kind of throw in Ryan Wingo in there as well, the 5-star wide receiver they added in the 2024 class. They have a embarrassment of riches in that wide receiver room, which is a very good problem to have. And then you throw in Amari Niblack in there who can get it done for you at tight end, and who was, I believe, Alabama's 3rd leading receiver this past season. So you get experience in the room with experience going out. You get just some fast players. That's the thing that stood out about these guys too, is their speed. In the SEC, we talked about the line of scrimmage, how big that is. I would say the second most important thing in the conference is speed. Steve Sarkisian is very good when he has speedy guys on his team. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just look at 2020 Alabama, Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle and those guys. So he added speed to the room. So I would say, Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Jonte Cook, Silas Bolden, Ryan Wingo, those kind of 5 guys are fighting for those top 4 spots. And I think that Bond and Golden are your top dogs, and I think Jonte Cook is really good too. I think that he's kind of Xavier Worthy 2.0, if you will. Worthy kind of took him under his wing the entire season. So you could see a lot of Xavier Worthy in Jonte Cook's game. But don't necessarily discount the other two guys that we haven't mentioned at all in Ryan Niblett and DeAndre Moore. This staff loves those two. They love that wide receiver class that they brought in with Niblett and Moore and Jonte Cook. So, all of those guys really are fighting for a top spot. I mean, Niblett was a world-class track athlete. He was freaky fast at Ike High School down in Houston. And then DeAndre Moore was kind of a late ad from California, but he's sort of the next Jordan Whittington, if you will, of this crew. Jordan Whittington kind of took him under his wing.
Don't say that.
Did.
That's my favorite right there. Don't get me all hyped up.
Hey, I'm talking about what I observed in practice. So, and Jordan Whittington talked a lot about how Demo was kind of the guy that he was trying to teach his ways there in the slot spot. So, like I said, embarrassment of riches in that wide receiver room. It's really hard to nail down a top 4 at this point in the year, but I would say for sure that those 5 are kind of fighting for those top 4 spots. But like I said, don't sleep on Niblett or DeAndre Moore.
Yeah, I love Jay Witt, man. He was my favorite player there. And we're joined now with Tommy Yarrish, the video producer from Horns 24/7. Today, we learned that UT hired the defensive line coach, like you said earlier, Kenny Baker. I did a little research. I know he's from the Atlanta area. Of course, he was coach for the Dolphins last year. Do you know much more about him? And do you think Sark kind of wanted somebody from that Atlanta area because of all that talent they have over there in that area? And do you think that had something to do with it?
Well, any ties to the South when you're in the SEC are going to be paramount, right? Especially when it comes to defensive line recruiting, because when you think where some of the top defensive line recruits in the country come from, you think of the southern states, Texas, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida. So anybody with ties in that area is going to be helpful in your recruiting efforts and your developmental efforts. So I think Kenny Baker, at least for now, seems like a great move. We've heard nothing but good things about him. Our guy, Eric Henry, put up a really good piece earlier today on Horns 24/7. If you haven't read it, go and read it about what Western Kentucky's head coach had to say about Baker and his ability to develop. So, yeah, I think Steve Sarkisian was looking for a guy with NFL experience and a guy with Southern ties to help in the recruiting. Now, Baker obviously still a little bit of a question mark when it comes to recruiting, just because we don't know how much of that he did at Western Kentucky. We don't know how that's going to translate to SEC recruiting at a school like Texas. But when it comes to his production, what we've seen off on the field, taking a look at some of the Dolphins numbers from 2022 compared to 2023 when he was on the staff. In 2022, the Dolphins gave up 4.2 yards per carry. This year, that number dropped to 3.8. In 2022, the Dolphins tallied 40 sacks on defense. This year, that shoots up to 56. So you obviously can't credit Baker for all of that per se, but you do have to kind of give him a little bit of credit because he was in that room and he was helping develop some of that talent and sort of scheming against what you were seeing on opposing offensive lines. And then when it comes to development at the college level, the best guy to look at was by far his best product at Western Kentucky, D'Angelo Malone. He was Conference USA's Defensive Player of the Year in 2021, and he went to be a third-round selection of the 2022 NFL Draft by the Atlanta Falcons. And the Hilltoppers, too, that year were third in Conference USA in sacks with 36. So I would say a lot of question marks to see what he does at a school like Texas, which is, no offense to any Western Kentucky Hilltoppers out there, but a much better and bigger program than Western Kentucky is at the moment. So there's certainly can be questions about how that translates and how the recruiting translates. But for now, I think Steve Sarkisian got all his boxes checked. A guy with NFL experience, Southern ties, and some proven development. Because here's the question, guys. How often do you see a third-round pick coming out of Western Kentucky? Yeah. Not very often, especially as a defensive lineman. So that's a hard spot to produce NFL talent for at a school like Western Kentucky, much less to be drafted in the third round.
Well, and
for sure.
Real quick, Big Boy, before you go to your next one. I mean, people were saying the same thing last year about Chris Jackson, right? Coming from the NFL ranks, not really being able to recruit, not knowing what that was like, and we saw what he just did in this class and with these transfers. So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously part of it's Sark and his offense, but I mean, you still got to give credit when it's due to the coach and the room that they're going to play for at the end of the day too. So,
Yeah.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. What are your overall early thoughts on how the 2025 class can end up with a massive junior day this past weekend? And what do you think the potential is for that?
Well, I think the potential for any class at Texas with Steve Sarkisian there is very good, especially on the offensive side of the ball, especially with skill players. Like skill guys want to play for Steve Sarkisian because they know they're going to get fed, right? That's why you see so many of the top wide receiver talents and tight end talents wanting to end up at a school like Texas. So, still very early on in this 2025 class, but I would say the expectation would be another top 5 class because Steve Sarkisian has had 3 of them during his time at Texas so far. So he's 3 for 3. You would expect he continues that trend, but certainly in the top 10, I think is where Texas would reside. Obviously, on the field results are going to matter in their first year in the SEC. I think it'll be a good year. I don't know if they'll necessarily win the SEC in year 1. I don't know if they go that far, but you would certainly like to see continuity. I think recruits would also like to see continuity. As far as the class stands right now, I mean, you've got a couple of really nice pieces. KJ Lacey, the quarterback, who Steve Sarkisian kind of when he was watching his film wrote down Bryce Young 2.0. We've used 2.0 a lot so far on this podcast. I apologize for that. But he wrote down Bryce Young 2.0, and that's kind of the vision with him, a smaller quarterback, but he's just extremely dynamic, very smart player who can make all the throws that you need him to make. And, schools like Alabama and Auburn are still kind of trying to tug at him. And that's something to watch here going down the line, especially with the new staff at Alabama with Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze looking like he's getting things rolling at Auburn. But still a very good quarterback. Texas is able to get him in the loop. And then a guy that they added over junior day, like you mentioned, Coop, and Lance Jackson, the 4-star defensive lineman, who will probably project more as an edge when he gets to college. And Lance Jackson. Lance Jackson's a guy who his older brother, Landon Jackson, was an All-American, went to Arkansas before he ended up transferring he went to LSU before he transferred to Arkansas. And he's doing pretty well over there for the Razorbacks, I believe. Kind of just wanted to be done with the recruiting process, right? He's already been through it twice with his brother, and coaches were talking to him when he was in 8th grade. So he gets it out of the way here early and just commits to Texas. And I was talking with our recruiting guy, Jordan Scruggs, about him, and he said that that's one of the more important pieces of this class. They figured he would get on at some point, but getting him early kind of allows Texas to be flexible with how they build the defensive side of the class, just because he's so versatile as a player where you can line him up on the edge. Maybe you make him an off-ball linebacker at some point if you kind of tweak some things, or you can put him in the middle of the defensive line. So a lot to like there. And then Emory Winston, the 4-star tight end, is great. This is probably going to be a 2 tight end class. Steve Sarkisian likes those. So getting an athletic dude like him is very nice. And then Brandon Brown and Anthony Williams, two solid pieces to kind of round out that class.
Nice. Switching it over here to basketball. Those 2 big victories we've had to top, 11 teams. We have BYU and then Houston at home. What do you think the chances are for them to go to BYU and get one and then take down Houston? And my opinion was they just needed to gel, and because there's so many new players coming in. Do you think UT's done that to make that turn to try to win the Big 12?
I want to be honest with you, fellas. Heading into this 6-game stretch of ranked opponents, I think Texas fans would be happy if they won 1 game. Just the way that they were playing coming into the stretch. If they won 1, I would be shocked. And they to come out and win 2 against Baylor and Oklahoma, I think that's very impressive. And I think that you kind of tip your cap to Rodney Terry. I don't know what the horns down debacle did to him, but whatever it did, if opposing fans need to start throwing horns down at him some more, they might as well do it if he's going to coach like this and they're going to play like this. So in all seriousness, it is promising to see 2 wins like that, especially after, starting off 1 and 2 in conference play. But I don't feel good about these next 2 games at all. BYU is one of the best defensive teams in the country. And I think metrics wise, they're like one of the best defenses ever somehow. I don't understand metrics entirely, but that could definitely pose a problem for Texas. They've been scoring very well. Max Asmus has been shooting a lot more efficiently versus just chucking up 25 shots a game and hoping that maybe 8 fall. So having that efficiency from him and the offense kind of start to blend together finally has resulted in some cleaner games for the Longhorns. But going on the road to a very harsh environment in BYU against a team that, yes, they've lost their last 2 games, but they're very good on defense and they can shoot the 3 ball. That is both of those things are Texas's weaknesses, right? They want to win the game by scoring more points than you. Like they'll give you 89 points as long as they score 90. But so, defending the 3 ball has been a big struggle for them. They have struggled to defend the perimeter all season long. And BYU is very good at shooting the ball from beyond the arc. So that's definitely a problem for them. And then for whatever reason, if there's a cold spell for the Longhorns offensively, those 2 things could make things ugly. So I don't think that BYU game is a win for them. And, that's not a season-ending loss or anything like that. I don't think at this point in the year. But that means you have a lot more to prove, and the game against Houston just gets a little bit bigger on your home court. And then, that's still kind of a toss-up for me. I kind of want to see how they play against BYU till I formulated my thoughts around that entirely. But Houston is a machine, man. I mean, Kelvin Sampson and LJ Cryer and Jamal Shed are just absolute workhorses. And what Sampson's done with that program has been phenomenal to watch. I think you're looking at a very similar backcourt to what Texas has with LJ Cryer and Jamal Shed. LJ Cryer's your tiny guy who can score, kind of like Max Asmus. And then Shed's your kind of do-it-all guy, kind of like Tyrese Hunter, I would say. Somewhat different there in playing styles, but nonetheless. So not so sure about BYU. I have a basketball podcast with my good buddy Jason Conander, and I picked against Texas in that BYU game. So we'll see what happens there. And then against Houston, if I had to pick right now, I would pick Houston in that game against Texas too. So again, didn't think going into this 6-game stretch, Texas would win more than 2 games. I think, the Big 12 is a gauntlet. Every night is basically a tournament game in the Big 12. So getting 2 wins like this against 2 very, very strong opponents after losing a head scratcher against UCF and West Virginia, it's very telling, but tougher games are still ahead for Texas.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Well, if y'all are not tuned in to Horns 24/7, make sure y'all go over there and read and watch everything that Tommy and Eric and the rest of the boys over there put out. Some great stuff. So make sure y'all go tune into that. But I know I got one more question for you before we let you get out of here tonight. You mentioned UT's perimeter defense on the court. And it's really been a difference when Chendall Weaver's on the floor, right? We saw it against OU, kind of him coming in and locking up McCollum when he was on the court and really kind of stalling OU's offense, you could say. Do you think there's any chance we see Weaver in the starting lineup soon with that recent play? And should we be worried a little bit on kind of the slump the team's gotten from Tyrese Hunter when it comes to offense?
Well, to answer your first question, no, I don't see Kendall Weaver working his way into the starting lineup just yet, just because he has been so good off the bench, right? Kendall Weaver's kind of like, I call him the Energizer Bunny of this team, and that's what you want your first guy off the bench to be, right? He's the guy who gives you that punch of energy when some of your guys' legs are getting a little tired and you don't have as much juice as you did, maybe at the start of the game. So I really like Kendall Weaver coming off the bench. I've been hammering the door in Rodney Terry's office to give Kendall Weaver more minutes. And in a game against Oklahoma, you see what he's able to do with 28 minutes of time, right? He gives you 11 points and 4 boards. He's been playing very well. He hustles and plays good defense. So off the bench, that is very valuable. And especially with a tight rotation like the one that Texas has, those minutes get increasingly more important. So that's why you've kind of seen Brock Cunningham kind of slide off on the minutes scale when, honestly, I believe rightfully so. I don't think he's been playing well all year. As far as Tyrese Hunter, I've always said with Tyrese and this Texas team is that Texas is going to go as far as Tyrese Hunter goes. If Tyrese Hunter is on and he's having a great night, Texas can beat most teams in the country if they play fairly well all around. If Tyrese Hunter is struggling offensively, then things get a lot tougher, and you kind of have to lean on Dylan DeSue and Max Asmus to carry a little bit more of the load for you. So, Tyrese is a question mark because we haven't seen the consistency from him to know which version you're going to get on any given night. So I would just leave it exactly like that. I think he's too valuable to take out of a starting lineup, and he's when he is on, he helps Texas a lot because when he's playing fast, when he's getting open looks, when he's got rhythm in his shot, he plays very well, and he can be pretty good on the defensive side of the ball at times as well. So I think Tyrese is a little bit too valuable to take out of the starting lineup, in my opinion. And I think Kendall Weaver has been exactly what Texas has been looking for coming off the bench when they need a spark.
Yeah, he's a hustler, man. He's grimy. I love watching him play.
He's great.
I love Weaver. Yeah.
He just attacks those boards. I mean, especially on the offensive glass. Especially seeing it in person this past week at OU was just insane. Watching him just jump around with him being so little and just jump around with all those big boys. But Tommy, man, we appreciate you coming on with us for the first time, and hopefully not the last time either. Obviously, basketball season is going to keep going. Football season is going to be here before we know it, with spring ball getting ready to start in the next couple months. But we appreciate you coming on, my man.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Anytime you want me on, I'm be happy to be back.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you guys. Anything that y'all need from me, please feel free to hit me up. I'm happy to do these whenever. You guys are great. This was fun.
Yes,
Sounds
sir.
good. Thank you.
All right, fellas. Y'all be easy.
You too.
All right.
Awesome.
Man, current video producer over at Horns 24/7. Another Horns 24/7 guy for you here on figuring out the 40.
I meant to ask him, did he say we were going to beat Baylor or Oklahoma? So maybe keep saying no, and then we'll keep winning,
No doubt. No doubt. Well, that was a great figuring out the 40. We pretty much said the same thing on Tuesday's show right before.
Hey, and I'm gonna make this right now. I don't mean to interrupt you. We're beating Houston.
At home.
Book it.
Okay.
All right.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
That's my gold star lock. I don't even want to know. That's the lock.
Does it matter if they win or lose against BYU first?
Don't matter. We're going to go up there to the Soakers, and we're going to beat BYU, and we're going to come home, beat Houston at home, be in the top 10, and then they'll probably lose to West Virginia or something. So,
all right.
No. But I do think they're going to beat Houston. Seriously. I've had this feeling.
Okay. I like it. Well, I don't have anything else. Y'all got anything else before we wrap this one up on this fantastic Friday episode?
No, I don't, man. Just hope everybody has a good week.
Man, I love the color coordination, too. I mean, you're repping the brand. I got good on, but same color, looks good. Coops.
Guess I didn't get the memo, man.
Well, Coop.
Yeah.
Coop Coop decided to switch his memo from.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can't believe you're not wearing red and black. I don't know what's going on.
I think the burnt orange looks a little bit better.
I like that hat, though.
Thank you.
Did you get that from your mom too? Did she send you that one too?
No, my girlfriend got me this one, man.
Nice. Tell her to send me one of those.
Let's go, Ravens, baby. Time to beat Patrick Mahomes. Time to later freaking.
Who's yours? I don't think you said who you like, Rowdy. Who do you like?
I got Ravens and 49ers. Just like I'm sticking to it. That's why I called last week. Yeah, last week. I'm gonna stick to
you
it.
did.
I think they're going to be pretty decent games. The only one I see being a blowout is the 49ers if they just come out there and just are clicking. But I agree, Coop. I think they're going to be biting kneecaps, man.
Lions. Props to the Lions. Great year, great playoff run. They've been scaping by these last couple of weeks, man.
And the 49ers didn't just scrape by the Packers?
Yeah, with their number one receiver out.
Okay.
Here we go.
He's gonna start. Probably could be out this foot.
Just hey. But before we end this, I want to say thanks to y'all. I want you to make sure you call your cousin Cove and make sure he's okay because he looked like he was. He looked like he was flustered. I want to make sure that he made it home safely. You know, he shouldn't be driving and angry like that. You know what I'm saying? I hope he was sitting in his parking lot or in his driveway.
I'm sure he was. But
yeah,
that is all the time we have for you today on today's episode of the Sports Roundtable Trio Edition. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. It was a great one. Enjoy championship weekend in the NFL. Enjoy whatever other sport adventure you may watch. And there's, of course, college basketball's heating up, like we said. NBA, if you're an NBA guy. We know we're not so much NBA guys over here, but the NBA is hot. I will be actually, before we close it out, at the OKC Thunder game Monday night as they take on the Timberwolves, the top two teams in the Western Conference. So I'm pretty pumped for that. First NBA game I'll ever go to, and it's for class. So I love it.
Hey, that's a good class.
I know. You're telling me. But remember, going into this conference championship weekend, it is not about the score, but it's about how much money you got on the game.
And the lines are going to get you a lot.
Oh, God, Coop.
There you go. Put some money on it.
We know
Plus
Coop's
280
records on the year. We don't want that. But don't forget to like,
subscribe. I beat
big
you.
Boy, what else they got to do, big boy? Ring that bell.
Ring that bell.
Voice. Yeah, ring that bell over Coop's voice. Cut him out. Don't listen to it. We'll see you for Tuesday on Tuesdays on the Edge. Tune in for that. And thanks for joining us for the shit show we call it podcast. Peace.